Good afternoon. My name's Drew. We're down here in the Redwood Grove today to take a moment to introduce everybody to the 3 new wines that we're releasing to our Advocates Club members. We're releasing 3 new 2019 wines, the Monastery Chardonnay, the Quail Vineyard Pinot Noir, as well as the Old Vines Block Pinot Noir. These are wonderful wines. The Chardonnay is coming mostly from the Susanna's Vineyard. The other 2 Pinot Noirs are both coming from Quail Vineyard right behind me. Normally I'd be joined by Pete Sorgel, our winemaker, but he's busy up in the winery right now crafting our beautiful 2022 vintage. To introduce you to the 19 Monastery, this wine is absolutely gorgeous. We were tasting it just this morning and everybody was really highlighting the beautiful acidity to this wine as well as the wonderful long finish. We've kind of been fine-tuning this recipe over the last 5 years, so 2014 up till now. We've slowly been trying to figure out what makes this wine better, how do we make this wine more expressive. This wine is 100% sourced from the Susanna's Vineyard. However, it doesn't smell or taste like the Susanna's Vineyard. Pete and Lynn have been able to isolate parts of the vineyard that really taste that much more unique, and we choose to keep those barrels separate and bottle as a standalone wine. The production of this wine is smaller than the Susanna's Vineyard, but this wine is absolutely worth the time in your cellar to have just age and age. It's definitely going to do well 4, 5, 6 years from now. Just beautiful golden straw color. What we get on the nose is really nice kind of citrus, really nice bright, almost kind of like white cake kind of pie crust. It's got this almost like green apple, almost like crushed pineapple on the nose. Just really intoxicating. Just immediate just acidity. You feel it on your palate. It smells almost like it's going to be richer than it drinks. That's definitely something I've been commenting on this wine for years, that it immediately kind of has this nice high-toned, goes right through your palate. You start to kind of get some nice acidity on the side of your palate, and that's also where the complexity of this wine starts to shine. You all of a sudden start to pick up all these nuances to the wine, and then you're kind of sidetracked because there's this beautiful finish to the wine where it's just almost like quince, almost like roasted pears. Very elongated finish, very just pronounced. Elegant wine, definitely for me something I would want to be incorporating with some dishes on my plates. Sharing food with people is something I thoroughly enjoy. Pairing it with even better wines is a part of it. Monastery right now is just one of these wines where you think of any kind of rich hearty dish that you'd want to be serving on a Saturday night with friends kind of as the fall sunsets. This is just a wonderful wine to share with that. So Monastery Chardonnay, beautiful wine. But alas, we do have 2 Pinot Noirs that we get to describe. These are both coming from Quail Vineyard. Anybody that's been supporting us for a long time is familiar with the Old Vines block as well. That's now pretty much going just to our 6-bottle and 12-bottle club members. So if this is a wine you truly love, you might want to make sure that you're in the right allocation for it. It is the oldest part of Quail Vineyard. So when Lynn bought this property behind me in 1980, there was one little piece of vineyard that was planted to Pinot Noir, and we still have it here. So these vines were originally planted in '74 by a guy named Joseph Swan, and they are just at the very top of the hill, almost right outside of Lynn's front door. And this part of the property is very distinct. It's also very noteworthy. It's very historical. But we built upon that over decades, and this is what Quail Hill's become, is the Old Vines block, as well as 15 other unique parcels on this property that we're growing to basically craft premium Pinot Noir grapes. For us, we're wanting to bring out the best in this site, and every year the weather is different. And so Pete was really trying to champion this vintage of really nice warm weather, kind of right towards harvest. We started getting these nice warm days, really cold nights, which really allows for nice hang time to the fruit. So when we pick up the Quail Hill wine, it's just immediately you're awash with all these aromas. A lot of them are red fruits, ranging from cranberry to elderberry, dark to light. There's always this blackberry note to me that comes through. One of my favorite fruits out here in our orchard is the Santa Rosa plums, and this wine always kind of evokes that kind of characteristic to me. You can't really talk about Lynmar without talking about Quail Hill Pinot, and that's why we're always just proud to share this wine, what it's evolved over the decades of crafting, growing, really fine-tuning what we do in the vineyard to allow our winemaking team the opportunity to make this beautiful wine. It's obviously made through a blending process where Pete's trying to really pick the best barrels from Quail Hill and also figure out which ones pair well together. He's trying to make a chorus from this property, something that just sings with beautiful fruit from the Russian River Valley. Again, always picking the fruit right on time. We're always able to maintain nice acidity in these wines, really gentle entry to the palate. You then kind of get that side to side of just really satiny kind of plush fruit on the palate. Then that finish again just immediately starts kind of like strawberry candy, almost like raspberry sorbet. It just has all these fun kind of flavors going on. And then you start to notice the complexity, some of those kind of like cocoa powders or baking spices. Something a lot of people kind of get this wine is almost like a subtle kind of like cola sarsaparilla note in the finish. So again, it's kind of the complexities and how do we make a beautiful wine from a single vineyard that ultimately almost feels like it just should be grown this way. It actually takes a lot of work to make this beautiful wine. And I always like releasing one of these wines, the single vineyard, with something like one of these single blocks, because the reality is these wines were both on the same vineyard, the same weather. Our ability to really realize that, hey, block 2, this old vines block, it wants to tell a story. We want to keep these grapes separate. We want to treat them differently because this wine can really sing on its own and really stand out from Quail Hill. Much like we make block 10 or Bliss block or Summit block. Lynn and the team have realized that, hey, on this entire Quail Hill vineyard, there are some pieces of this property that it would almost be just a disservice to blend them away. And so bottling something as special as old vines, these are some of the oldest vines in, Pinot land out here in the Russian River. They're still on this property. Production's low. We're lucky to basically get 12 to 14 barrels off of this. So, 300, 350 cases. But just effusive aroma. It's just amazing. It's just overpowering. It just kind of comes at you. Kind of earthy, but fruity and like more delicate than even the Quail Hill, which is already a very sophisticated and polished wine. This wine just has this Bing cherry, kind of like cherry candy on the nose, and then on the palate it's just more of those ripe strawberries. Think like alpine strawberries, or almost like really like strawberry candy, or something that always comes to mind is cherry kirsch, kind of like a liqueur or something kind of in the background. Great body to the wine, really mouth-filling. The finish is great. This vintage is going to be remembered for Sonoma County wines. Both the periodicals a lot of people read, Wine Enthusiast, Wine Spectator, have given great acclaim to the 2019 vintage. We as a winery are just really starting to release these wines this calendar year. These 2019s were bottled in 2020, so we've essentially waited almost 2 years to release these wines to you valued wine club members. I would definitely think about cellaring all these wines. You probably already have other Lynmar wines in your portfolio that are ready to drink right now. 16 Pinot Noirs are tasting great, so are the 14s. This Chardonnay, drink now, easily can hold up 2, 3, 5 years. The Pinot Noirs, I would want to be laying down till 2027, 2029. They're drinkable now. We popped and poured these just for this beautiful little tasting to share with you guys. So thank you so much for the support. From Quail Hill Vineyard, this is Drew with Wonderful Wine. Thanks, you guys.